Hello folks, I am pretty excited for this one. This is my top 10 favorite Christian metal albums. Let's do this. So in number 10 we have the self-titled Broken Flesh album. Take a good look at it. This album cover kind of shows just how heavy it is. There's like one part of one song that I think is kind of weak and the rest of it is just... So if you love your brutal death metal, you probably know that exists and love it already, so I don't really need to tell you that it's fantastic. Tried falling asleep to it once and I was just getting so hyped that I was like, nah, I can't do this. It's just that high energy. Right, in number 9 we have Ghost Ship by THEOCRACY. Now this album is fantastic. It has sing-along choruses, really fun fast parts, lyrics that will speak to your soul, and a 10-minute telling of the Easter story in a song, which is just so good. So if you love good progressive / power metal that speaks to your soul, check this out.
This is a revolution, this is a call to arms. So put your war paint on, it's time to sound the fight song. The saints of absolution, you can call it all make war. So fall in line this time, cause this is what we came for.
So in number 8 we have Void by War of Ages. Now what makes this album so great is just the masterful progressiveness of it. It's like really tasteful progressive metalcore, and just the way that it starts off is just so bang on. It starts off perfectly and it like ends perfectly, and there's just so many parts that will get stuck in your head. It's just a masterpiece. There's like heavy parts, there's really beautiful melodic parts, there's really cool technical drum parts, there's really just fun endings to songs and things. It's just fantastic, and the lyrical content is bang on, with lots of really thoughtful, inspirational stuff in it. Number 7, I think this is, we have RAHAB by GROANS. Now, you're probably wondering why I put this over all that beautifulness. It's because this has some of the funnest parts I've heard in hardcore and metal. It's just like, I need to make a Kaylee happen, but it has that for the soundtrack, and you pretty don't know what a Kaylee is, so it's basically like, it's a form of traditional Scottish dancing that can get pretty crazy. So like recently when I was, well, kinda recently when I was doing one of my mates was just like, you want to go for it? I was like, yes, let's do it, and it got thrown on the floor twice, but it was fantastic. Like the amount of bruises that you get from it are just so worth it. Right, in number 6, I think this is, we have Long Live by the Chariot. Now this, when I first heard this thing, I was like, what is this? This is pure noise. It's just, but I think I've grown to love it just because it's the best kind of chaos along with the most beautiful lyrics. It's just so good. Like, it's like screaming absolute poetry, except for the song David de la Hoz, where there's the most fantastic spoken word piece along with a guy with the most legendary mustache ever. So it's just such a good album because yeah, it's just such masterful chaos.
Enough is enough, 'cause we cannot be like heroes.
In number 5 we have Disconnected by Nothing Left. This album, it took me a wee while to get into it. I first heard it and I was like, I think this is good, but it's not like sticking in my head, so I just listen to it like over and over and over, and I don't necessarily listen to it like all the time, but every time I come back to it, I'm just like, this is good. It is so good. And it's like, it's a great album for like when I'm like really annoyed or things like that, because just the lyrics kind of speak to that. They're just, it's good hardcore and kind of angry and things at times, kind of emotional at times, but it's just like really good for processing that. And also a lot of the parts are just straight up really fun. Number 4, we have Extremist by Demon Hunter. Now, I think what makes this earn its 4th place spot is just the dynamics within the different types of songs in there. A radio rock song to close it off, there's like a slow ballad, there's just some really epic songs in it for different reasons. For example, One Last Song is just just the epicness of, like, if this was gonna be my final song, we're gonna make it count. It's just like, yes. And then there's like epicness like in Gasoline, where it's just like, it's kind of quiet for a bit, and it's like, we will smother out the flames with gasoline, and it's just so epic. And just that transition into the breakdown, so yes, that is what makes it earn its 4th place spot. And now we're into the top 3. So in number 3, we have The Storm Before the Calm by Death Therapy. This album is just legendary because it's like danced electronic metal, kind of, if that makes sense. It's like really groovy and fun, and it's like another one that I want to have in Akalia at some point because it's just so good. Like, I've not heard industrial metal that I like as much as this ever. It's just so masterfully done, along with being really fun. So yeah, it's just so good. And number 2, we have Death Will Reign by Impending Doom. Now, the reason that this is my favorite Impending Doom album and not Baptized in Filth or Nail Dead Risen or the Sin and Doom Volume 2 is because just I think the listenability of the songs really kind of speaks for itself. It's an album that I can really easily listen all the way through. There's lots of really heavy parts, there's lots of really fun parts. It's just like so good. It's just like, and there's like lots of different variety within the lyrics. There's like being angry at domestic abuse, there's like just praying over Reeves, praying over his son and things. There's like contemplations on the fact that humans weren't meant to go to hell. It's just so good on every level and so listenable, so I highly recommend it. In number 1, we have Immortal by For To Date. Now, the reason that this takes number 1 is, 1, it was the album that got me into metal, so it's kind of like, it's hard not to love it. It's stuck with me since then for like 5 or 6 years. I don't think it has the best music of For Today's career in it, but I think it has a lot of the best lyrics and things. It's like worship music on steroids. It's just, how can you not love that? It's like if you put motivational speakers and worship music together, this is like what you get. It's just like, yeah, Jesus. It's just so so good, and just such like, whenever I need picked up, it's like you can put that on and it will just speak to my soul and get me hyped and stuff, and it's just so good.
Call me a fool for this thing, but I would die for that. My king is alive. My king is alive, and he is worthy of every.
So yeah, what are your guys' top 10 Christian metal albums? What do you think about my top 10? What would you have done differently? Comment all that down below, and I will see you guys in the next video.